Hello, boss, and welcome to another episode of Sorta Bossy. Hello, Emily.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you today?
I'm doing well. I had to go pick up my car from getting serviced, so that really threw
Yeah.
my morning, but we're making it, you know?
We're gonna do what we gotta do.
Plus,
I
I
have
forgot my
been,
charging cord, and so they called me when I was on the way home, and they were like, "You still have my charging cord, and I'm going to charge you $1,000." I was like, "Whoa,
for
whoa, whoa!"
what? Like for a laptop or your car, your electric car,
It
right?
was an electric car charging cord. Like the loaner that they gave me was electric, but I didn't know. In my defense, okay, my
hmm
partner, he took out the charging cord to charge the car. I didn't know that was their cord, so when I
Right.
left this morning, I unplugged the car and I just left the cord here at the house because I thought it was his old Tesla charging cord. I didn't know
Right.
that it was Cadillac's charging cord, you know?
Right.
So I just unplugged it and
Yeah.
then I drove and took the loaner back. And then I got in my car that they gave me. And then on my way home, she's calling me all mad. And I was like, I didn't even touch the charging cord. I don't know what you're talking about. And she was like, well, we're going to charge you $1,000. I was like, oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. I was like, let me call my person to
Yeah.
see if he touched the charging cord. And then this will all be solved. You don't have to be so mad at me.
They do though, like they just love to be mad. I think that there's something going on in the world where everybody just loves to be mad right now because I also feel that way.
I don't know. The other day I also went to get, my acai bowls that I get.
So jelly. I should go. I should have gone to get one. I'm
I
gonna
did
go
one
tomorrow.
today too, just before this call, not to make you even more jealous.
I'm going tomorrow to get one.
I love that for
I'm
you.
doing it. Yeah.
And a lot of them know me, but a lot of them also, like, the turnover there at these types of places is
Yeah.
so high. So some of them, they know, and they know my order, and they know how to treat me, and blah, blah, blah. We're like friends, right? And then the people who are brand new, this person was like brand new, and I walk up to the counter, and they don't say a word to me, and they're looking down at the computer,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not acknowledging me at all. And they're waiting for me, I guess, to just share my order. But I'm like, are you going to say hello? Are you going to, I don't know if you're even ready for my order. Like, Are you
Right?
ready for me to give you the order?
Yeah. Because you'll start talking, they'll be like, "I'm not ready yet." You know what I mean?
I was appalled. I'm like,
Yeah.
and then I was looking at Michael. I'm like, I wonder when they're going to talk. Like,
Yeah.
and then
Hot take. This is why I
I
love
just had to talk
kiosks.
eventually. I was like,
Yeah.
this has gone too far because now it's just uncomfortable for me. I can tell
Right.
that you're so uncomfortable with your job that you're not going to say a word.
Mm-hmm.
But like, we got to do something about this generation. Like,
Yeah.
as leaders, it's our responsibility as well. Like, I know that but we also, as parents, I think it's our utmost responsibility
I know.
because we're raising these people and then they're going into the workforce and they don't communicate. Like, they don't know how to communicate.
It's because everything is embarrassing.
Everything
for
is
them.
embarrassing. Everything is done on their phone. Everything is digital. So like, even me, like with my parenting, like my kids are soon to be 4. She'll be 4 in a week.
Next week.
Oh my gosh. And then probably by the time this airs, she'll already be 4. And then 6. Okay. Well, if we go to like Chick-fil-A, I make them give their order at the I'm with them, but they can't just tell me their order. I'm like, no, tell the lady what you want, right? Or tell the gentleman what you want, right? Because it's like, you're gonna learn to communicate. I'm not like, this is also like, don't call CPS on me. Like, these are things I had to do, but for some reason we just really baby this generation. We've been talking about this a lot, and this is not really what the episode is about, but this is what our banter is about. This is really important.
So I'm like, apparently just love to drop a hot take every episode, but me and my children and I like Taco Bell. Okay, it is what it is. I don't need to hear it. I know. Okay, keep your opinions to yourself. Okay, yeah. You either get it or you don't get it. And Lila likes a Crunchwrap Supreme. No lettuce, no tomato, because she is a freak. And one time we went and I was like, okay, then you have to order it.
Yeah.
And she refused. I was like, well, I guess you're not eating then. So she didn't get anything.
I love that you followed through because
I was like, no, Like, we're not going then. Like, you know, I don't want to order. You know why? And this is because I also hate talking to people. I hate doing modifiers. I'm the girl who's afraid to like call in and order a pizza. I make my husband do everything because I am that person, right? And so I'm like, well, I don't want to do it either, but I don't need to ask for no lettuce and tomato. So you do it. But
and you're preparing her, so hopefully she doesn't end up
she's not like me.
You.
Yes. Being afraid of the world. Yeah, last night she told us everything is embarrassing. She told us it's embarrassing. Everything in life is embarrassing. And I'm like, you gotta stop. Like, it was embarrassing that like
or just
she wore jeans. It was embarrassing. Like, not really. I just like, that's an example of like how specifically every single thing is embarrassing. Like, she's been like, she's her little like grade, like elementary school, or middle school like boyfriend. Yeah. And it's like everything about that embarrasses her. I was like, then why just stop? Then why do we have this then? She'll kill me if she ever hears that.
And you could just choose to not have the boyfriend if it's so embarrassing.
I know. I love her so much. But yes, it is like a thing, you know, and I think it's because their lives have been like, they have grown up seeing everything about every single person all the time through social media, through the internet, through whatever. So like, yeah, everything's embarrassing. People are embarrassing, but you're not supposed to see that much of it.
Yeah, like we're not supposed to know all this stuff about each other.
We're not supposed to see like every fall or every like. Do your kids ever make you watch the Try Not to Laugh stuff?
No.
It's like modern day America's Funniest Home Videos. It is funny, but it's also like everyone's not supposed to see every single thing that the human race does to embarrass ourselves. So yeah, like walking down the street and like tripping is embarrassing, but it's more embarrassing when 50,000 people see it.
Yeah.
So they're just used to that. They're just used to every single thing being used against them, and they just are afraid that everything is going to become like a meme or a viral moment. So it's better to just not do anything.
It's probably so embarrassing to like ask me what my order is when, as an employee of
oh my God,
the acai place.
And as an adult with me, I'm like, it's so embarrassing to like want to go get an acai bowl. Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. Not really. But yeah.
Oh my God, how embarrassing that you want that and you're going to go get it tomorrow.
Or that my tongue's going to be purple from it.
Mine's not.
No.
Should I pull a card?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. These are our affirmation cards, Taylor Swift inspired. All that time you were throwing punches, I was building something.
Okay. Dang.
Perfect for our episode.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's dive into the topic at hand. Because this is 8 minutes.
And is when to fire someone. I think that this is a common challenge that in terms of timing, that people don't know like when it's time. And I think people often hold on too long or don't do the necessary steps to like do the due diligence of, is this actually the right choice? And and then it feels terrible. It feels embarrassing one way or the other, right? Like,
yeah.
One way or the other, it's embarrassing.
I'm embarrassed. Yeah.
Embarrassed. I waited too long. And then usually I think people wait too long and then it becomes so painful and it affects so many other people besides just that one individual. But the reason I think we wait too long is because we're not sure if we've done all the due diligence and if this is like the right choice and like what is life going to be like. You know, there's kind of a comfort zone of having this person, even if it's not going well, right? And I think that like there's so many parallels between like business and relationships and business and parenting in different ways, right? And it's like with this one, it's like business and relationships. Like sometimes you're holding on to something for far too long because it's just comfortable, right? It's just like the devil you know, right?
I just clipped this. It's
like maybe
what you know versus what you don't.
Yeah.
But daddy, I love him. Yeah.
Like maybe I can fix it. Maybe I can make it better. Maybe it's my fault, not theirs. So what?
Maybe it's not as bad as I think it is.
Right. Maybe I'm over exaggerating. Maybe I'm just in a bad mood this entire month or
year
or year.
Job. Yeah.
the
It's
whole
my
thing.
fault that they can't meet a deadline, which like sometimes it is, you know?
Totally,
Sometimes
totally.
it is. So it's confusing.
So that's what I think we should talk about is like how to kind of tell the difference and how to
Yeah.
know when it actually is appropriate to fire someone
Okay,
and
let's do it.
the things that you maybe want to do in advance to do the due diligence to go, oh, okay, like this is the right choice, even though it's always going to be a hard choice, right?
Yeah.
But just because it's hard doesn't mean it's wrong. And I think that sometimes comes up for a lot of people, whether it's and we can also talk about like just briefly the different, like we're talking when we're talking about firing someone, we're talking about because it's based on that person's that employee's performance,
Right.
right? Not when you have to let someone go, which I think is a different situation where maybe the business's needs have changed
You're
or
restructuring or
restructure, the financial situation, whatever it might be, the it's to no fault of that person, like not their performance.
That's almost harder.
Oh, I would agree. And I've done both. I've had to do both. I've had to let people go because of business decisions, like this isn't right for the business anymore, whether because it's a financial reason, a business restructuring reason, an offer restructuring reason of like, we just don't need these things anymore, even though they were really great at doing these things, you know? And I've had to fire someone because of performance issues, right? And I think 100% the letting someone go is actually more challenging emotionally for me because it's not this person's fault at all, you know?
No. And they're not usually not expecting it, and you haven't laid the groundwork that we're about to go into. So
right. So they don't see it coming because there wasn't any performance issues leading up to it. Whereas if you're firing someone, they should probably know well in advance based on the conversations that you're having that something isn't going well. And so like the firing shouldn't really be a shock when you get there. And I think a lot of times like, you know, we avoid it for so long because of that guilt, because of the feeling of, oh, I don't want to be the mean person. It's like, well, if you've done all of these things, like you're not being a mean person, right? Like you're being direct. You've given them the opportunities to improve and they've chosen to stay where they are or to continue, or maybe they don't even have the ability, which is a completely, you know, it's a challenging thing, but it's still the reality sometimes. So,
I think we should just preface this by saying like, you first need to like follow your labor laws and HR. Like this is not that. We're not saying like legally what you have to do because it's different like state to state and country to country, right? Because where I am, you can't just fire someone. Like you,
and where I am, you can.
You can. So,
but that also depends on where my employee lives, not just where I live or where my company is based, right? So if you also need to be considering that if you have remote employees, like don't just be mindful of like, oh, well, I live in Florida and that's a no fault state. So I can, you know, let someone go without even having any reason. It's like, yeah, but if your employee lives in California
watch out.
You can't do that. So yes, we are not your lawyer. We are not your HR director. So you need to.
This is like the ethical things you need to do if you're trying to save a hire or
the leadership,
know when not to.
Like the leadership side of the conversation, but you still need to, do your own due diligence on the legal and HR side. So first thing I think is knowing when it's time, like some things that you should do first, right? Is like that you've had multiple conversations with them, right? Like where you've been very clear about communicating your expectations. I think this is usually the number one reason that performance isn't going the way that you want it to. Like usually when I have a client and they're like, I'm thinking about firing this person, like it's not going well. I'm like, oh, have you communicated the expectations to, or like, what are the expectations that they're not meeting?
What's not going well? Exactly. Articulate exactly.
What is not going well? It can't just be a feeling. Oh, I just feel like they're not doing a great job. And I'm like, well, that doesn't fly with me, right? Like, okay, feeling, schmealing, like what is that based on in terms of data, right? So what were the expectations that you laid out for them and where are they missing the mark? And usually at that point, when I'm coaching someone or having that conversation, that's where it all just kind of unravels in that, oh, I never communicated expectations, clearly. I never gave them any metrics. And so then I'm like, okay, well, then you can't fire them, even if you're in a no-fault state. Like, I'm not talking about the legal stuff. I'm talking about it's not the right thing to do as the leader, because you haven't even given them the opportunity to hit those expectations because you never clarified what they were. So a lot of times, this is where the breakdown happens initially. And this is where we have to start, is like, if you haven't had a conversation about what the expectations are, number one, if you haven't defined what the expectations are, that's your job first, right? Like, what are the expectations I have of this person, of this role? What metrics do I actually want them to be responsible for? And then communicate those to them. See if they feel like they're able to hit those with the resources, abilities, capacity that they have in their role. So that's like the first conversation, is like that conversation really should be happening during onboarding. But if it's not, and we're already thinking, oh, this person isn't the right fit, blah, 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 blah. Like, okay, well, the first conversation that you're going to have with them is, here's the expectations that I have of this role. This is what I'm expecting. This is what I need to see moving forward. Like, is that even feasible from your perspective? A lot of times that will solve the whole thing, because people never did it to begin with. And so your disappointment is really just based on them not having enough information.
Yeah.
To do the job that you in your head wanted them to do, but never communicated to them that you wanted them to do. So like, number one, that should be happening if you're even having this feeling, is go back to this, like, okay, what expectations did I have? Did I actually clearly communicate those? And can I give them, a little bit of a conversation and then a runway to start trying to hit those things? And then we reevaluate, right? So it's like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, just depending on what the metrics are. Like, sometimes
and you just want to see incremental improvements, because some of these things are like big deal. They're not going to be able to turn everything around, but if they're starting to veer in the right direction, okay, we're good. Then we'll check in like a month or so. This was
obviously an issue of me not being clear to begin with, not them not being able to perform. So I think that's number one, is starting there. And like I said, like most clients, when I ask them, like, they've never even done that part. So this will alleviate a lot of the due diligence from the beginning. I think one of the other things is, you have to start there. If you've done that and then things are not improving, or they're not improving maybe at the rate that you would hope or expect, and you're spending a lot of time like having to manage that relationship, I don't think that that's necessarily an immediate, like, they gotta go, but you do have to monitor that, right? It's like, okay, if we're not, like you said, if we're not making incremental improvements, and we're still...
I have to have daily meetings with them, or I have to check in and I'm not seeing the progress, that's a huge, like,
okay, now I've clarified my expectations.
They've had a chance to kind of come back with their, well, okay, great, but I'm going to need help in XYZ, or this is a weak spot for me, so I'm going to blah, like, you've had a conversation. Now we're on to, are they a self-starter? Are they able to handle all this? Are they moving in the right direction? If they're not, and you have to hold their hand, then that's a sign that maybe they're not a fit for your organization.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I think once you've established that, like, oh, wow, they're taking up a huge chunk of my time, my energy, my management, which is then taking away from my other direct reports who maybe are doing a great job. So this is what usually happens when you have someone who isn't improving or is toxic in some way to the team, is that now the person who's either doing the least or performing at the lowest level is getting 90% of the attention from the manager. And then the people who are doing well, who really deserve that, that
Extra
growth
support
energy from a
or
manager,
yeah.
that support that a manager can offer, or a leader can offer, they're not getting the attention that they need, which is going to start to, the team is going to start to feel that, right?
Yeah.
Like, and the team is also maybe even aware of someone's poor performance because they're on team meetings or they're involved, especially on small teams, like they're involved in other steps of the process, and this person maybe isn't doing a good job, and so then they have to clean up the work, or they're waiting on this person because they're not meeting deadlines, or they're not, doing it to the level that everyone needs. And so it's usually pretty obvious that you're like dragging this person along, and everyone else has to kind of like pick up the slack, which can really hurt the morale of a team. And sometimes as leaders, we hang on to people way too long because we're trying to protect that one person, the one person we're going to fire. We're like, oh, but like, I see a lot of potential in them, or like maybe they can turn things around, or they're such a nice person. I really wanted them to, I wanted them to do this well, and I don't want to hurt them. And they have a family, and they have a new baby, they have kids, their mom's sick, like blah, 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 like all these things that we can justify for so long. And when we do that, we're failing to think about all the other people on the team who are being impacted by the downfall of this one person. Like they're witnessing all of this attention going towards this one person, or all of the like get out of jail free cards that this person is getting, and they're not getting the same experience, they're not getting the same treatment, and they're like, what is going on? Like, why are we sacrificing 5, 7, 10, 50 people on a team and their morale to protect this one person because we have this emotional attachment to them, or even to ourselves, in that we don't want to be seen as like the bad guy for firing them or whatever it might be.
Or we're just avoiding a tough conversation or avoiding an uncomfortable situation.
And like, that's in protection of ourselves, right? We're like, oh, I don't want to have it, so I don't want to deal with this. I'm going to keep stringing it along. And it's like, well, the longer you string it along, the more negatively it affects everybody else as well, because they're witness to it. And
and those people always have the most staying power. Like, I have definitely worked in some toxic places where it's like, we're just going to keep them and we're going to make it as uncomfortable for them as possible. But they stay. They're like, oh, I don't care. I'm getting paid to act like this. Cool.
Because sometimes they're trying to get you to fire them at that point. Like, especially if you're in certain states, or
then you're at like a checkmate.
You're in a checkmate. Like, you're in certain states or countries where they want you to fire them so that they can file for unemployment. Like, and they're emotionally checked out. So they're like, I don't care that I'm like toxic to your culture, because I'm not even engaging in your culture. Whereas you are, hoping that they'll just leave on their own because you're avoiding this firing conversation. And they really got you because they don't care enough to actually make a change or make a difference, or to quit. Like, they don't care enough to quit. If you're going to let them get away with the level of work that they're continuing to produce or not produce, and they're still getting paid, like, why would they leave? Until they find something better, maybe. But even then, they might not even
have no motivation to look. So that is like another sign that it's time, is if someone is like very obviously like checked out. It's clear they don't want to be there. They're not invested. They don't care, especially on teams that are very have high levels of care, because then it just becomes so uncomfortable for everybody else. And it also models you as the leader accepting behavior from one person. Well, then you have to accept it from everyone.
Right. Which is what starts to turn an organization like cancerous, right? Like, cancer cells spread, right? And if someone sees that, like, oh, this is what is tolerated, like, this is this is the new standard, I guess, because they're still here and they're not getting fired, and this is the level of work that they're doing. So why am I going above and beyond, or why am I hitting all my metrics and stressing myself out to like do my job when I don't have to? Clearly, it's clear that I don't have to. And that can spread really quickly. And that's part of like, if that's happening, you do want to think about, okay, it's probably time to let this person go, to fire them. Some other things that you can like look out for is this idea of like everyone on the team, or especially leadership on the team, is like, oh, don't give it to that person because like I just know that they're not going to do a good. If you already kind of know in your head that they can't be reliable, accountable, produce the quality of work, and you're avoiding even giving them assignments, or you're working around them in some ways, like you're like, oh, let's just do it without that person. Let's see if we can just, I'll fill in the gap for them, or I'll do that for them because I don't even want to, like, you're accommodating the incompetence, and that's on us, continues to be on us as the leader, right? That's a big red flag that if you're doing that, if you're tiptoeing around that situation, even when you're assigning things, doing group projects or group work, it should be a red flag to you, and everybody else is noticing it again, right? So it's like, oh wait, why did they not have to do it? Just because they're acting incompetent? Or because they are incompetent? Then why do we have them here, right? Like, why does this person get a paycheck to not have to do things?
Yeah, or on the flip side, if people are like, I would rather work twice as hard to avoid having to deal with that person.
Yes. Even, that's a good point. Like, even if it's not related to incompetence, if it's related to attitude or just interpersonal conflict that you might have had with this person, or that other team members have had with this person. If team members are like, I would rather like work double than work with this person, that's a huge red flag. And specifically if it's not just one person saying that or doing that.
Yes, if it's the consensus. Because you're always going to have like two people who just don't jive. And like, as long as everyone can be professional, like that you can work with that, But as soon as it becomes like this known, like, you know what, we'll just all work an extra shift rather than bring on this person, red flag. They got to go.
Yeah. I think another thing is like, if you're avoiding them, or if you're nervous to like tell them things, and that might not be about performance, but it might be about how like attitude or reactions or things like that. If it's like, oh, if I'm like avoiding this person and I'm the leader, like what is going on energetically with the team? And again, especially if that's not just you, but that's like the consensus amongst you, other leaders, or you've heard that from your direct reports or other people on the team of like, I'm like, I just won't run this by them. Like, I don't even want to have to deal, or like, let's not bring them in on that meeting because I don't want it to turn into a thing or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like,
and I think the biggest thing, like, I mean, we started this topic by saying it's not just a feeling. Like, you can't just base this on a feeling. But if you're running through all of these scenarios, or if you're coming up against these sort of friction points with a team member, you do kind of need to ask yourself, like, would I be relieved if they were gone? Or do they have this like very like certain expertise or something, you know what I mean? Like, is my life going to be harder or easier without them? And look at it like holistically, not just in terms of their task completion, but managing their time, managing your team's reaction around them, all that stuff. And if the answer is yes, then you live in Florida and so do they.
Then go for it.
Because you can't, like where I live, like you can't write someone up on a gut check,
Right.
You can't start the process of firing them by saying like, I don't like you. Like that's not legal here.
Which is why like this has to start, or it should start with the onboarding, right? Of being really clear of expectations of a role, metrics that they need to be performing to. How are you monitoring those things? How are you checking in on performance on those things? How are you holding them accountable? Like these are all things that as a leader you need to be doing. But if you're in a situation where you did not do those things, that's why you have to start with the conversation. And I think this is true regardless of what state you live in or what the like legal ramifications are. Like, sure, you could just let someone go on a feeling in certain states, but you shouldn't, because that's not good leadership either, right? And so like for every single situation, you should be going back to, oh, did I clarify the expectations? Did I communicate those to them? Where are we monitoring those? Like, how are they being reported out? So how do I know they're doing a good job or not doing a good job? That's what I also ask my clients. I'm like, okay, if it's based on a feeling, like, let's like dig deeper.
Find the data. Yeah.
Like, what is the data of that? Right. So it's like, how do you know, like, if this is like how would you know if they were doing a good job? I'll ask that question. What would they be doing if they were doing like a stellar job for you? Oh, they would be doing this, this, and this. I'm like, okay, well, those are maybe clear expectations that we need to set. What would they be doing if you felt like they weren't doing a good job? Oh, they would be not doing X, Y, and Z. Okay, now we can turn those into actual criteria and expectations that you can communicate to them. Because if you haven't been clear about expectations, like that's on you. And you need to have that conversation first before you just go ahead and fire someone. I think that that's like numero uno, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing we said like in the beginning is like, don't fire someone just if this is like a little rough patch. Like if this is like not their normal performance. Like if they've been performing high at a you know, a quality level for the majority of your time together and something's going on, that probably deserves a one-on-one conversation to check in with them. Maybe something's going on personally. Maybe there's something new on their plate, you know, in work that is taking up more of their capacity, that's causing them to decline in other areas. I just think it deserves a conversation as well, not just like an immediate firing. It's like, oh, there's probably more to this and you need to do a little bit more digging as the leader. I find that like most things as leaders just require us to be more curious with our people, right? It just requires us to like spend more time going, hey, what's going on here? And then usually we can get to the bottom of it, but a lot of people either just avoid the conversations altogether or immediately go to a like disciplinary action versus like
curiosity,
just trying to figure out like, hey, like this isn't your normal
what's going on
level. Like what's what's going on. And if
or even saying like, you don't have to tell me what's going on, but just know like something's up, we need to how can I support you? Or but because also like this can't continue, so you know we have so many things that we could talk about on this topic. I think we need to do like a series. So I think we'll have to do multiple episodes on this because there's so many more points to this, you know?
I know. Because it's like, don't just fire someone because, again, vibes. Like, you gotta, like to wrap it up for today, and then we'll do more, especially if this is like something that you all struggle with or that you need support on. Or if you have additional questions, you can also like pop them into our Dear Bossy. If you go to sortofbossypodcast.com, go and pop them in there.
We love context.
Like give us some context and we can like answer specific questions around this as well. But I think like to bring it home, like the majority of things are solved when you're clear on your expectations with people and you've communicated those to people, and then you're willing to have conversations with those people. Like you can't just fire someone because you don't like them or because the vibes are wrong or I feel like they're not a
or they made one mistake.
But you also should not keep someone too long and make everything toxic for everybody else, because then your really good people will leave, right? Like,
right. So basically just be perfect at it. Just make the perfect decision.
But go through this list first with that person. Like, don't wait too long. But like, if these things, like if you've had the conversation, if you've done the metrics and they're still not performing, if you've given them the chance to make incremental improvements and they're still not, then okay, maybe it's time. Or if everybody on the team is feeling this, then it's also probably time.
If they're impacting the rest of the team, if their mood is disengaged, if they're that kind of thing, then it might be time. We actually have a checklist I think we'll put in the show notes of like how to know when it's time. That way you can reference back to it and you can ask yourself these questions.
And then ask us more specific questions of like, oh, I went through the checklist, but I'm still struggling. Here's my specific question. Pop it into our Dear Bossy submissions. Thank you, Emily. I know that this is a tough conversation. It's hard for people to even think about firing people, and I get it.
I know, especially these days, this economy.
It's an emotional conversation. But also, you as the leader have to step up and know that like part of your job is to have tough conversations and to make tough business decisions sometimes. Like they're not always fun to have, but they are often necessary. So don't avoid it, and don't avoid it for too long. All right. We'll see you
next time. We'll see you in the next one.